Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Precision Race Night to you all. Welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network as we bring you live coverage from Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Precision Racing League brings you the Bill Clemens RV 130 as a part of round 4 of the American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by HighTorqueTexas.com and the Brake Mod. I'm your commentator, Sean Zulu, and I am joined by my good friend and producer, Dave Everly. How are you tonight, buddy?
I'm doing wonderful, Sean. How you doing tonight?
I am doing good too, thank you. As usual, Dave, I am pumped. I am excited about tonight's race here at Charlotte after having an amazing race last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But Dave, start off by telling us a little bit about tonight's race, please.
Well, we are here at Charlotte Motor Speedway here for the next round of the American iRacing Sunday Series. Taking a look at our weather, we have 67 degree air temperature with a track temperature of 67 degrees. It is clear. We have the wind about 4 or 5 mile an hour out of the north. But it looks like these guys are now done with practice and getting ready to switch over into qualifying.
Oh yeah, and as usual, they do have a 60% fuel limit. That is 60%. So they will have to pit at least once. Well, they'll pit at least more than twice in order to be able to make it all the way, because it is a 130 lap race. That is 130 laps. A lot can happen. It can go from good to bad, from bad to good, and the best bet these guys have is to save their stuff and try their best to not get taken out by the track, because that track is very, very hungry, and it's not afraid to take any of them out. And before we talk about tonight's race, just a little bit of a recap from last week's race. We did have the one of Pataska Bring It Home. That was the big block SRT 125 by Mike Taylor, and that was round number 3 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We had Pataska Bring It Home. That's the season champion from last season, defending champion this season. The 5, Jason Ashby, came out second. The 60 of Cotton Lane came out third. The 8 of Steven Aguiar came out fourth. The 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne came out fifth. We had the 49 Christian Antonio sixth. 45 Eddie Hawks seventh. The 6 of Steven Mattox eighth. The 17 of Jerome Berthome ninth. And the 93 of Patrick Mercier did come out in the 10th place spot, which did round up the top 10 in that race. And looking at these guys' teams, we do have Pataska from Damp Motorsports. We have Jason Ashley from Wrangler Motorsports, Colton Lane from Ford Lane Motorsports, Steven Aguiar from Wrangler Motorsports, Jean-Francois Champagne from Champs with Mercy. We have Christian Antonio with Big Blocks Sim Race Team, Eddie Hawks from Jet Mechanic Motorsports, the 6 of Steven Mattox Misfit Motorsports, 17 of Jerome Berthome QC Motorsports, and 93 of Patrick Mercier from Champs with Mercy, the teammate to the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne. And in that race, we did have a lot of hard racing, as the drivers not only battled themselves, but they did battle the track to try and advance their spots, and also try and advance their spots in the chase and in the race. And the track was very, very loose, as the cars and the track did not get along too well, which did cause a lot of incidents and ended up ending some drivers' nights early. So this race tonight here at Charlotte will be something these guys are going to try and do their best in. Basically, they're trying to redeem themselves after having a bad race last week at Vegas. And entrance to turns 3 and exit to turn 4 were the worst, as the cars broke traction and snapped around from the rear, which did really make it difficult for the drivers. And green flag pit stops did take place, which did guarantee a 4-tire pit stop with 100% gas or a full tank of gas. And those guys did need tires, because the track was not the best. Well, the track was good, but the setup was very, very loose. And 3 wide up front in the later stage of the race did take out Markel Murphy, Corey Blevins, Steven Mattox, Patrick Mercier, James O'Brien, and that did leave us with a 4-lap shootout at the very end. And it brought it down to Dallas Pataska, Jason Ashby, 60 Cotton Lane, Steven Aguiar, and the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne. And looking at our current season standings, we do have the 8 of Steven Aguiar taking over the race lead, coming from 3rd place last week. 48 Markel Murphy from 1st place, bumped down to 2nd. The 24 Corey Blevins from 2nd down to 3rd. The 1 of Dallas Pataska still in 4th place, no change. 45 Eddie Hawks going from 8th place up into top 5, into 5th place, gaining quite a few spots, very impressive. The 95 Jeffrey Ford from 7th place to 6th. James O'Brien is in 6th. Well, he's in 7th, but is tied with the 9 of Austin Moore, both tied for the 7th place spot. The 60 of Cotton Lane back in the top 10 in 8th. The 6 of Steven Mattox back in the top 10 as well in 9th. And the 49 of Christian Antonio is new to the top 10 this week. So we should look forward to seeing Christian Antonio move up here. He is a new driver to the series here, and he is an amazing driver, same as the 48 of Markel Murphy. And looking at these teams right now, we do have Stephen Aguiar from Wrangell Motorsports, Markel Murphy from Flat Out Motorsports, Corey Blevins, his teammate, Flat Out Motorsports, and both teammates are 2nd and 3rd in points. We have Dallas Pataska, DAMP Motorsports, 4th, Jet Mechanic Motorsports with Eddie Hawks, Ford Lane Motorsports with Jeffrey Ford, Underdog Motorsports, James O'Brien, DAMP Motorsports, Austin Moore, Ford Lane Motorsports, Colton Lane, Misfit Motorsports, Steven Mattox, Big Block Sim Race Team, Christian Antonio, and that does once again round up the top 10 in points. By going back to tonight's race here, these guys are almost done qualifying. We do have a few seconds before qualifying ends, and so far, Dave, on the pole is the 27 of Danny Duchesne.
Yeah, Danny Duchesne's a great driver. He's definitely taken the pole, but Sean, I want to take the time right now to let everybody know we are missing a normal face here to the race. That is going to be Sammy Holmes himself. Unfortunately, he is in the U.S. military and he has been deployed. So all of our thoughts and prayers are out to him, his family, and all the men and women of the United States Armed Services that are out fighting for our rights. So Sammy is out there watching today. Just want you to know we're thinking about you, bud, and you're in our thoughts and prayers.
Oh, absolutely, Sammy. We do look forward to seeing you getting back to us here and coming back to spank these guys as usual. Take care, buddy. And as right now we do have these guys gridding up, we will give them a few seconds before we go down that list. Well, we do have a 27 Dan Duchesne once again on the pole. 88 James O'Brien 2nd. We have the 60 of Colton Lane 3rd. 48 Markel Murphy 4th. And that 5 Jason Ashby, last week's 2nd place driver, running up the top 5. 911 John LaBeouf 6th. 28 Eric Roberts 7th. 8 of Stephen Aguiar 8th. 54 of Lance Marsh 9th. The 23 of Craig Hawkins 10th. 24 of Corey Blevins 11th. The 6 of Steven Mattox 12th. 49 of Christian Antonio 13th. 17 of Jerome Berthome 14th. 98 of Jeffrey Ford 15th. 43 of Trip Morton 16th. 21 of Trevor White 17th. 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne 18th. The 1 of Dallas Pataska, last season's champion, this season's defending champion, in the 19th place spot, and will be the last car to put down a qualifying time with a 28.310, tied with the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne in 18th. 9 of Austin Moore 20th, 41 of Chris Perez 21st, and that 59 of David White 22nd. And tonight we do have a 22 car field out there being led by the 27 of Danny Duchesne, as these drivers are now rolling at pace speed 65 miles an hour. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bill Plemons RV 130 by Lance Marsh, part of the American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by HighTorqueTexas.com and the Brake Mod at thebrakemod.com. Well, these guys getting bunched up nice and tight. Dave, once again, it is a long way to go, 130 laps to go. So a lot can happen, a lot needs to be done by these drivers. And as usual, Dave, turns number 1 and 2 is not your best friend. These cars in practice were getting very, very loose. So these guys are going to have to be on their toes.
Well, Sean, this is one of my favorite tracks. I love Charlotte Motor Speedway. I love to drive it. I love watching it. So it should be for an exciting race here with the Precision Racing League American iRacing Series Sunday Series, as the pace car now brings them out of turn number 4. Danny Duchesne is keeping them at pace speed. The pace car is now off as we are waiting on the green flag to drop. They come through the dogleg, the green flag flies. The 60 of Colton Lane is pushing the 27 of Danny Duchesne on that start. Meanwhile, on the outside, the 88 of James O'Brien is giving it a good run on the outside.
Oh man, 60 Colton Lane did miss a shift. it did back him up quite a bit, but he still maintains that third place spot. 48 on the outside line. Markel Murphy trying his best to propel past him while pulling the 911 of John LaBeouf. And up front, the battle for the race lead still going on, but nope, 27 Duchesne does propel past the 88 of James O'Brien, who has no choice but to fall back in line. Right now, 88 James O'Brien trying to do the crossover move, but 27 Duchesne running that defensive line to avoid it.
Yeah, he is holding the preferred racing line now here as they drop down to the white line here, coming through turns 1 and 2. Looks like most of these guys are going single file, except a little further here in the back. They're still 2 wide, even a little 3 wide here into turn number 3.
If they do take it back, double wide here, the 8 of Aguiar forced back in line behind 28 of Eric Roberts, 54 Lance Marsh right now in this mix, coming close to the 8 of Aguiar while pulling the 45. Actually, 25. Oh, then John LaBeouf goes sideways, entering turn 1. The caution is not going to fly. He does stay below the apron. The rear end is dinged up quite a bit. Yeah, if we can, let's back it up and focus on the 911 John LaBeouf on replay.
Well, as we pull up our Dre Broadcasting replay, we are going to focus on the 911 of John LaBeouf here as we rewind it here to see exactly what happened. So, see, get a little further back here. Looks like coming through the dogleg, he was running right behind the 60 of Colton Lane. The 48 of Markel Murphy right behind him. Oh, a little contact between him and Markel Murphy. He gets it down below the white line, which causes us to stay green.
And Dave, from further investigation, 911 John LaBeouf did have a connection problem there. There's a 48 of Markel Murphy. I apologize for my mic being open there. And it looks like we had the 911 LaBeouf had some connection problems, which did make him disappear. And 48 of Murphy did not see him, and which did cause that incident. But going back up front, the 88 of James O'Brien right now still trying to catch the 27 of Danny Duchesne. They are spread out about 0.3 seconds of a gap. And that 60 of Cotton Lane goes outside. 48 Markel looks to his inside. They will be side by side entering turn 1. And that 48 of Markel Murphy did make the pass successfully against the 60 of Cotton Lane. And looking for the back, that 28 Eric Roberts trying to hold off 24 of Corey Blevins, but Corey Blevins does look to his inside. That 28 of Roberts has no choice but to stay high. 24 Blevins makes a pass successfully across the start-finish line and bumps himself up into 6th.
Yeah, meanwhile, looking back here, looks like they've all kind of gone single file here as we watch the 23 of Craig Hawkins look to the inside of Lance Marsh. He is going to take that spot. No, they are going to stay side by side as it looks like they are coming up on a slower car. The 28 of Eric Roberts, they are going 3 wide. Oh, the 54 of Lance Marsh up into the outside wall. Keeps it there, keeps it going. So we are going to stay green flag racing here on lap 7 coming to lap 8.
Oh man, very unfortunate for Lance Marsh. He does sustain some right side damage on that machine and does continue to drop like a rock, but right now he will try and keep that hammer down to the floor, hopefully catch some draft from these guys to try and better counter that damage. But right now he does have the 9 of Austin Moore with a big run on him and will look to his inside as Marsh will stay high to let him by. And for the back up front, Dave 28 Eric Roberts right now trying to hold off a 13 of Jacques-Francois Champagne. Jacques-Francois hammered down to the floor, and behind him the 1 of Pataska will follow the 13 of Francois and dumps the 28 of Roberts, as Roberts will lose 2 spots here. That 13 of Francois makes the pass successful, but the 1 of Pataska still on his inside line. Let's see what happens on the exit of 4. And that did open the door for the 21 of Trevor White to look to his inside, and that 28 of Roberts does seem to continue dropping back like a rock. And Dave, knowing Eric Roberts, that is just his strategy, trying to stay out of trouble and save his stuff.
Yeah, we got a long race here. We still have 121 laps remaining here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So there's plenty of time to make up these spots. He's just not wanting to push the issue and just kind of ride. Meanwhile, going up front here, looks like the 49 of Christian Antonio has moved up into the 7th position, but he has got Stephen Aguiar right behind him looking to try to make a move, but they are just going to stay single file.
Oh, 49 Christian taps the wall on the exit of turn 2, and the 8 of Aguirre does benefit from that, makes the pass successfully against him, and that 49 of Antonio does gain some right side damage due to that contact. Dave going back up front, 48 Markel Murphy trying his best to catch the 27 of Danny Duchesne, and he is doing so every single lap, and he is in his draft. The draft is very, very strong on these straight stretches, so he is pulling him in very slowly but surely. And Dave 48 Markel Murphy is a driver to watch out for, because he has proven to us that he is very, very fast in the long run.
Yeah, as we are looking, he is only right about 2/10 there behind the 27 of Duchesne. Just kind of riding. I don't think he's really pushing too hard here. This race could come down to fuel mileage, so it'll definitely be interesting to see, as we see the 88 of James O'Brien got overtaken by the 24 of Corey Blevins, which dropped him down into 4th position, and Corey up into the 3rd position, as they are now coming through turns 3 and 4.
And Dave 48 Markel Murphy trying to set up the 27 of Duchesne, but Duchesne not falling for it. He will maintain his race groove. 48 Markel just pretty much backing it down, trying to go high and low to try and make 27 of Duchesne fall for it by him looking in his rearview mirror, but 27 of Duchesne refuses to fall for it and just pretty much do his thing, which is benefiting him at the moment, and doing a great job keeping 48 of Murphy right behind. But further back in the pack, we do have the that's going to be the 23 of Craig Hawkins catching the 49 of Christian Antonio, and Chris right now catching up to the 8 of Aguiar, countering his damage very well.
Well, we do have the 48 of Markel Murphy trying to make a pass on the 27 of Danny Duchesne. Duchesne does get a good run off of the turn and hold that position, as it looks like Markel lost a little time, as he has now got to worry about the 24 of Corey Blevins, who is all over his back bumper.
And Dave, look at this. This is only lap number 15. We cross start finish line for lap number 16. And the 27 of Duchesne, 48 Markel Murphy. All these leaders are now starting to catch up to the back of the pack, the back of the field. They do have the 59 David White in their sights, and the 911 of John LaBeouf. And the 59 of White will stay high to let them by. 59 David White did get a little bit loose on the exit of 2, which did slow him down. He lost all his momentum, all his speed, and is going to have to do it again, but he does lose one spot. He does lose one lap here and goes a lap down. Very unfortunate for him, but hopefully he does get a caution to be back on the lead lap.
Well, meanwhile, back up front, we have Corey Blevins challenging the 48 of Markel Murphy in 2nd position, as they are now side by side here on the backstretch. Meanwhile, the 88 of James O'Brien is just kind of sitting back watching this battle, as it looks like Corey Blevins is going to excel past Markel Murphy and take that 2nd position. Oh, he goes up and tags the wall out of 4. That is going to drop him, as the 88 of James O'Brien is now looking to make a pass on the 48 of Markel Murphy.
Yeah, 48 Markel Murphy right now under a lot of pressure from both drivers. Well, 88 James O'Brien at the moment, but 48 Murphy does make the outside line work and still closes the gap between him and the 88 of James O'Brien, who will have no choice but to fall back in line. And Dave, because of that 27 of Duchesne does pull away a lot, and the caution does fly on lap 18. We'll back it up and take a look at who might have been involved in that.
Well, it looks like it is going to involve the 43 of Trip Morton here, as we pull up our Dre Broadcasting replay here. We are going to rewind it back, focus on the 43 of Trip Morton here coming into turn number 1. He is side by side with the 49 of Christian Antonio. Oh, the 28 of Eric Roberts gets a little loose, and then the 43 of Trip Morton gets loose and tags that inside wall. Makes a little contact there, but looks like he is able to get it back around and going, and looks like he is smoking heavily.
Yeah, smoking heavily he is, and holy cow, he does go down pit road. It's quite a barbecue. Hopefully his pit crew has enough time to repair that car in order for him to get back out there and stay competitive. But he will stay on pit road, as his pit crew is hard at work trying to make sure the car gets back out onto the track before this thing is over. But going back up front, Dave, the 27 Duchesne, does lead everybody down pit road, and everybody will follow. Yep, everybody does decide to follow except for the 59 of David White.
Looks like the 59 of David White is going to get the lucky dog, as he is waved around the pace car back on the lead lap. He will get a chance to pit here, as it looks like Danny Duchesne is going to beat everybody up off pit road here, and retake that number one position, keep that number one position here off pit road.
And that does give us some time to get a race interview in, so we'll focus on our current race leader, 27, of Danny Duchesne. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the 27 of Danny Duchesne up here. Let's get a cup there, Danny.
Hey, Shane.
How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. The car is good. The track is good too. It got a lot of grip.
Oh, 10-4. Very, very good. Glad to hear that, Danny. And holy cow, Danny, you said the track is doing very well, but holy cow, man, we're having a lot of drivers getting very loose on the exit to turn 2. Are you having any of those issues yourself?
No, I don't have any issue about getting loose. Just entry of one is a bit tricky. There's a little bump there, and if you turn too early, you will turn the car. So.
Oh, 10-4, Danny. And Danny, that last run we just had here, that 48 Marquez was all over your back bumper. He was going high and low behind you, trying to fake you out, trying to make you make a mistake. How did you handle that?
Well, I was in front of him, so he has to pass me. I was just holding my line, and I think he tried to pass me in the inside in 1 and 2, and I think he went a bit loose there, and he had to slow down, and I was able to keep my outside and stay ahead of him.
And Danny, tonight you have been doing an amazing job. You started in first place and led every single lap ever since. With that said, you think you have what it takes to continue doing exactly what you're doing and bring this thing home?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we have a good green flag run there to be able to do some green flag pit stop.
Oh, sounds good, Danny. And we do look forward to that as well. Well, good luck to you, buddy, and make us proud as usual.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you to our sponsor, iTorque and the Brake Mod, for bringing this series.
And that was the 27th Danny Duchesne, our current race leader, and has led every single lap this far. And we are now back 1 to green. It's almost the same lineup as it was. Well, Dave, funny enough, it is the same lineup we had before. We have 27 Duchesne still on the bottom lane, 88 James O'Brien right behind him, 48 Markel Murphy leading the outside of the help with the 60 of Compton Lane. These guys double file, 65 miles an hour, going green for the second time, this time by.
Well, with 109 laps here remaining at Charlotte Motor Speedway, this should be an interesting restart. Hopefully, we'll see the same amount of action that we've already seen tonight, Sean.
Oh, yeah, we've seen a lot of action this far, more action to come. And Dave, unfortunately, we have lost one driver, 43, Trip Morton, parking it behind the wall, retiring for the night. But we do look forward to seeing him again next week at Iowa Speedway. But right now, these drivers do exit, turns them at 3 and 4, going green. The pace car does dip off. 27 does not hesitate. It does put it down to the floor immediately. 48, Markel caught sleeping. 88, James O'Brien tries to benefit from it, and he might just do so before turn 2. And 88 James O'Brien already on the inside of 48 of Markel Murphy. 60 of Cotton Lane does have a gap and falls down below to the 88 of James O'Brien. And that 48 of Markel does get freight trained on the outside line. 60 of Cotton Lane on the inside line right now, trying to stay ahead of the 48 of Murphy, and he does so successfully. Murphy goes from 2nd place to 4th place in 1 lap. The 88 James O'Brien trying to catch 27 Duchesne and does end up pulling him in every single lap. The draft is very, very strong. It is working in his favor. But the hard part is just getting around 27 Duchesne, Dave, because we know he won't let him by without a fight.
Yeah, most definitely is the 88 of James O'Brien is all over that back bumper. Oh, he makes a move here into turn 3, gets to the inside. Danny Duchesne just kind of nudges him down a little bit. They are side by side here through the start-finish line, and it looks like James O'Brien is actually going to lead that lap.
Oh, but James does get loose there. Oh my God, he almost spun it, but he does save it. He will go from 1st place to 4th place. That is better than getting damage on that machine. What a nice save on his part. He will have to back it up, do it again. And the 8 of Aguirre right now trying to get around him as well as we speak, while pulling his teammate. The 5 of Jason Ashby does. Huska is in line. 23 of Craig Hawkins right behind. Well, Dave, that does stack up the field.
Yeah, this should be a good battle here with this group having The 8 of Stephen Aguiar, James O'Brien, Dallas Pataska, Jason Ashby, Craig Hawkins, and Stephen Maddox, and also it looks like the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne. Is these front three guys are still battling out as Colton Lane is trying to find a way to get around the 27 of Duchesne, but he is just unable. Meanwhile, the 48 of Markel Murphy is just back there riding.
Yep, Markel right now most likely trying to set both these guys up. He's actually hoping that both the leader, the 27 of Duchesne and the 60 of Lane battle so he can benefit from it, but he's not having it just yet. 60 of Colton Lane is going to start applying pressure here shortly. He's most likely just trying to think of a good strategy to try and set up 27 of Duchesne, but Duchesne is an experienced driver. We did see how he handled the situation of the 48 of Murphy being all over his back bumper the first green flag run we just had. So we know it won't be an easy task for the 60 of Colton Lane, but looking further back in the pack here at the cluster that we have with 88 of James O'Brien, 8 of Aguiar, 1 of Pataska. These guys running single file. The 8 of Aguiar looks to the inside of the 88 of James O'Brien, but will fall short. 88 of James O'Brien occupying the outside line, but nope, 8 of Aguiar does occupy his inside line, entering 3 and exiting turn 4. They will stay side by side throughout the front stretch. That's going to be a battle for the 4th place spot. The 88 of O'Brien still maintains the 4th place spot. The 1 of Pataska is getting close to both drivers, but decides to follow the 8 of Aguiar on the inside line. The inside line is the place to be in the early stages, but the longer the run goes, the outside line will come to life. And further back in the pack, 23 of Craig Hawkins, 5 Jason Ashby, 13 Jean-Francois, 6 of Mattox gonna go back single file here to try and catch up to their opponents. And Dave, let's ride on the in car with the, of the 88 of James O'Brien, just so we can watch him handle the situation. You do see him trying to pinch the 1 of Pataska down on that bottom lane, but having no luck so far. The 1 of Pataska does propel on the exit of 4. At the same time, 88 of O'Brien did get the slingshot off turn 4, so they will still stay neck and neck. But the 1 of Pataska does get the position away from the 88 of James O'Brien. 23 of Craig Hawkins is assisting the 1 of Pataska, which is increasing his speed here on the straightaway, using that little bit of draft. And the 88 of James O'Brien does get the slingshot once again off turn 2, and will challenge both drivers, 23 of Hawkins and the 1 of Pataska.
Well, it looks like Pataska is going to get that position, but now James O'Brien has got the 23 of Craig Hawkins looking to his inside. Well, James O'Brien is going to shut that door on him and maintain that number 6 position, as he is still just riding bumper to bumper with the 1 of Dallas Pataska.
Holy cow, speak of close, that was quite the nose chop. That was very impressive. Textbook right there. And 23 of Hawkins, I'm not just about to back it off. Well, he was going to back off either way because his car did start to push up quite a bit. But no harm was done from that. But going back up front, the leaders, the actually our top 3 podium drivers, Danny Duchesne, 60 Colton Lane, 48 Markel Murphy, still riding nose to tail, but the 48 of Murphy does start to lose a little bit of ground from both drivers, 60 of Lane and 27 of Duchesne. Not sure if maybe he just backed it off to try and save his tires for the long run, or maybe they are just pulling away from me. Oh, the 60 of Lane goes sideways off turn 4. He goes into the apron there in the grass, no traction. He does hang on to it. He does speed on pit road. Oh my God. He will get a black flag. He most likely will have to serve that. Oh man, Dave, what a save, but very, very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, he is going to have to handle that penalty, but he did keep it safe. He did keep it clean. He is just going to have to come down pit road and serve that penalty. Probably go a lap down, or maybe 2 laps down here, as he is going to have to come down on pit road here under green flag conditions.
Going back up front, Dave, that does bump 48 Markel Murphy up into the 2nd place spot, and the 48 Murphy does put the hammer down to the floor. He has closed that gap quite a bit from the last time we checked on him. And further back in the pack as well, 88 James O'Brien, 1 of Pataska. These guys riding single file, and these guys are their worst enemies. They are rivals. So the 88 of James O'Brien trying his best to take it away from the defending champion, 1 of Pataska. At the same time, Pataska trying his best to defend what's rightfully his. But that 48 Marquette Murphy as well is a driver to watch out for this season. He does have a lot to offer to these guys in terms of competition. So it is going to be very, very interesting when it comes down to it. And further back in the pack, we do have a lot more single file going on here. 49 Christian Antonio, the 21 Trevor White, the 6 of Mattox, 13 of Jean-Francois, 8 of Aguiar, and the 23 of Craig Hawkins.
Well, we are now sitting here on lap 37, Sean, 94 laps remaining. Looks like these guys have got about 18 laps since their last pit stop. So probably within the next 10 to 15 laps, we should start seeing, hopefully, some green flag pit stops.
And Dave, just like last week, the drivers had the pit window was in between lap 25 through 30. So if it's the same with here, the caution does fly here. We're going to go back and take a look at who might have been involved in that.
Looks like it is going to be the 21 of Trevor White as we pull up our Dre broadcast and replay. We are going to rewind it here, take a look at the 21 of Trevor White here as he was side by side with the 49 of Christian Antonio coming out of turn number 4. Oh, he tries to keep it out of the wall and just loses it and smacks hard into the outside wall, down into the grass. No other car is going to be involved, but he has got some heavy damage on that machine.
Yeah, so much damage on that machine, but hopefully his pit crew has enough time to beat it out so he can be back out there on the track. But looks like he is being able to push about 179, 180 miles an hour with the damage. So it looks like his pit crew might not have too much work to do on that machine. So he will be back out there and running with these guys in only a matter of time. But going back up front, the 27 Duchesne still in the lead. 48 Markel Murphy second, the 1 of Pataska third, 88 James O'Brien fourth, and the 23 of Craig Hawkins in the 5th place spot. And 27 Duchesne will lead them all down pit road, and almost everybody will follow. Let's see if everybody follows. Oh, we have some contact on the entrance pit road, and the pit cone has been shuffled out into the grass. And we have some drivers deciding to stay out. We have the 9 of Austin Moore staying out, and the 28 of Eric Roberts.
Yeah, I think it looks like the 9 of Austin Moore is just trying to get that lead a lap, get that bonus point here as the 28 of Eric Roberts gets the lucky dog. That is going to put him back on the lead lap as we see. It looks like everybody is taking 4 tires and a full tank of fuel here on pit road. Oh, Denny Duchesne is going to beat him off of pit road to maintain. Well, that will put him in 2nd position.
Yeah, that was very, very close. Oh, actually, Dave, looks like Danny Duchesne was beat off pit road by both Markel Murphy and the 1 of Pataska. He did slide. He went sideways exiting his pit stop, which did cost him a lot of time. Well, some time, enough time to lose his spot to the 1 of Pataska and the 48 of Markel Murphy. And that 9 of Austin Moore being shown with 21 laps on his tires. And just like you said, Dave, he just most likely is staying out to try and lead a lap to get that extra bonus point, and we'll be pitting in here shortly, but he still decides to stay out. And Dave, at this point, I'm pretty sure pit road is closed for him. And look at that, Dave. At this point, our biggest movers are the 9 of Austin Moore starting 20th and being in the lead as we speak, and the 1 of Pataska starting 19th and is now in 2nd place. And we currently do have some drivers saving some gas, clutching it in. The 27 Dan Duchesne, for example, is clutching it in, trying to save some gas for the long run to try and avoid going down pit road with everybody else. Because, Dave, this is Charlotte. It's very difficult to pit in as it is, so you do not want to go in as a pack.
Yeah, it's hard to get down into speed and get down on that apron for your pit road entrance. So I think if we see any green flag pit stops tonight, I think that is going to be a major issue here tonight with some drivers getting down into speed and down into slowing down enough down to 50 mile an hour for pit road speed.
And just like we have seen at previous tracks, when these guys slam on those brakes hard to try and go from 170 plus miles an hour down to a pit road speed, it most likely means usually some bad news, because they do end up locking it up, which does bring the front end around. But right now we are now back one to green. We will be led by the 9 of Austin Moore. Well, Dave, this is not a good thing for Austin Moore. He most likely will be a sitting duck, because he does have 20 laps more on his tires.
Yeah, most definitely here, as they are now double foul. As you said, the lights on the pace car are off. We are getting ready to go back green flag racing as they exit turn number 4 here. We are being led by the 9 of Austin Moore with Dallas Pataska on the outside, the 48 of Markel Murphy on the inside, and in that 4th position will be the 27 of Danny Deshane with James O'Brien and Craig Hawkins in the next row. As the pace car now brings them into turn number 3, we are getting ready to go back green flag racing here as these guys start tightening the bunch, getting bumper to bumper, ready to drop that hammer and get back to flying around Charlotte Motor Speedway. Pace car brings them out of turn number 4. They are waiting for that pace car to dip down into pit road. The pace car is on pit road. 9 of Austin Moore hammers it down, gets a good jump. Markel Murphy gets to the inside of Dallas Pataska as they come through the dog leg and into turn number 1.
In that 88, James O'Brien trying to get to the 1 of Pataska, but Pataska does shut that door on him. And that 88 of James O'Brien does have a big run against the 1 of Pataska and tries to go down below him, but the 1 of Pataska does occupy that bottom lane. He says, nope, not today. But it's both getting up to speed. You're not going to take it away that easily. And behind them, 27 of Duchesne, the 6 of Mattox, 23 of Craig Hawkins, all single foul, trying to catch everybody else ahead of them. And that 23 of Austin Moore is now being caught at a very, very fast rate. At this point, his best bet is to try and just run that defensive line to try and keep these guys behind, but he will stay high to let them by.
Yeah, he knows he's on older tires. He knows these guys got fresh tires and are ready to roll. He just doesn't have anything for him, so he is just going to run that high line and let these guys go. As we see James O'Brien, Danny Deshane, and the 6 of Maddox there get around on the inside.
And that 54 of Lance Marsh right now trying his best to take as many spots away as he can, but the 41 of Chris Perez does get around him. I haven't spoken much of Perez tonight, if any, but that 54 of Lance Marsh does do the crossover move on him, trying his best to use that drop to get around against him. But if you guys remember earlier in the race, he did smack that wall really hard, which did give him a lot of damage, and that most likely is still affecting his performance. His car is not looking too bad on that right side, but it definitely is. The damage is noticeable quite a bit, so it is affecting him quite a bit here, his straightaway speed, but he is trying his best to counter it by keeping the hammer down to the floor and trying to use the draft of the 41 of Chris Perez and the 17 of Jerome, and Jerome right now catching up to both the 54 of Marsh and the 41 of Perez.
Looks like the 54 of Lance Marsh is going to look into the inside of Perez as they are, well, he just does not have enough speed to get up there and challenging for that number 12 position. Meanwhile, as you said, that 17 of Jerome Bartholomew is sitting back in 14th, just kind of waiting and biding his time.
And Dave going a little bit up front here, the bottom for the race lead, 48 Markel hanging out to the outside. The 1 of Pataska will be on the bottom lane, getting around him, pulling the 88 of James O'Brien. The 1 of Pataska does take over the race lead here on lap number 48. And that 48 of Markel Murphy bumped down to second place spot, but the 88 of James O'Brien is on his inside line. So he most likely will lose that spot, because once again, the inside line is the place to be. Outside line, not so much. And behind him, 27 Duchesne trying to catch the 88 of James O'Brien, trying to help him get around the 48 of Markel Murphy.
Yeah, 27 Danny Deshane wants to get back up front and take over that position here, as he is currently still riding back in the 4th position, but he is going to get to the inside of Markel Murphy. No, Markel's going to shut the door on him and hold him back there. Meanwhile, the 23 of Craig Hawkins is watching all this, smiling, because that is just keeping him right up here in the mix, as he is on the back door there of Danny Deshane.
And Danny Deshane is very, very hungry for that spot, for that lead. That is, he has led the most laps this far. He was leading before the last caution there and got beat off pit road. So he is trying to take what was rightfully his, which was that race lead. Right now, he is just pretty much riding, trying to figure out the best race line to try and set these guys up. All three drivers, Markel Murphy, 88, James O'Brien, and the one of Dallas Pataska, that 48 Markel, trying to do some mind games against 88 of James O'Brien, but James O'Brien does defend that spot. 48 Markel trying to make the pass against on the outside line, but the 88 of James O'Brien does shut the door, goes back low, and holy cow, it's a battle for the second place spot. 48 Markel from the outside line. They will be side by side entering turn 1. And that 27 Duchesne does make the pass successful against 48 of Markel, who does come back here and who is occupying the right rear of the 27 of Duchesne, but Duchesne makes the pass successful against him, entering turn number 3. At the same time, leaves the door open to the 23 of Craig Hawkins. Look to his inside line. Well, Dave, it's not the best time for the 48 of Markel Murphy, but he is still trying his best to put in a hard fight.
Yeah, most definitely. He is just trying to hold what he can. Needs to get down on that bottom lane, but meanwhile, running that high lane, he is actually saving himself some tires, so that could be highly beneficial.
Oh yeah, that is the bright side. So once these guys burn their stuff up, he will be able to get around them as though they are sitting still. But right now, 88 James O'Brien still catching up to the one of Pataska at the same time. 27. Oh, the 88 of James O'Brien gets loose. 27 Duchesne will benefit from it. Looks to his outside and he's trying to make the pass against him. But so far, 88 of James O'Brien still has the inside line. 27 of Duchesne on the outside with a big run entering turn 3. And let's see what happens here. Looks like he will lose that momentum entering turn 3. But the 88 of James O'Brien will make the pass successfully once again on the exit of turn 4. And he will still maintain a second place spot. Because of that, the one of Pataska did pull away quite a bit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost halfway here through the race. We are going to go ahead and step away for our first commercial break of the evening. So this will give you a chance. Oh, the caution is out, Sean. The caution is out.
You're going to back it up and take a look at who might have been involved in that. Oh, the 911 John LaBeouf was spun out sideways on the track. Looks like in between turns 1 and 2. Let's focus on the 911 LaBeouf on replay.
Well, as we pull up our joint broadcast and replay, we are going to focus on that 911. Oh, he just got real loose there coming through turn number 2. Oh, and he almost saves it, but he goes out and makes contact with the outside wall. But he does get it down, and everybody does get around him safe.
Yeah, very unfortunate for John LaBeouf. And right now he is on pit road getting that damage fixed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take our first commercial break of tonight's race here on lap number 55. So you guys can get your first round of refreshments and popcorn. We'll be right back, so stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bill Clemens RV 130 as a part of round 4 of the American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by HighTorqueTexas.com and the Brake Mod at thebrakemod.com. And ladies and gentlemen, we are being joined by a special guest here, the 9 of Austin Moore, one of the fellow drivers. Get a call up there, Austin.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. How are you?
Doing good too, thank you. Well, one thing we did notice that last run there, you did stay out and had 20 lap older tires compared to everybody else, and that did not seem to work out for you. But how's the track feeling, buddy?
It's really only one groove is the bottom line. Once you get up high, there's really nothing there. At the end, I started to feel it come in, maybe a half a groove up, but right now low line is king.
Oh, that does make a lot of sense. Yeah, everybody we've seen on the high sideline hasn't really ended very well for them, because they do go up from front to back in a hurry until they catch a break and fall back in line here. As right now we do exit turn 4, being led by 17 of Jerome Berthome, who leads his first lap. The pace car does dip off. He does still hold pace speed. He puts it down to full. The one of that he does catch everybody off guard. 23 of Craig Hawkins, 27 of Duchesne, one of Pateska all caught sleeping, but the one of Pateska does go down the bottom lane in front of the 27 of Duchesne, with 23 of Craig Hawkins trying to get down the bottom lane, but he's not clear. 27 of Duchesne is on his inside line, and that 23 of Craig Hawkins left out the outside line will go from front to back in. Harris 48 Markel Murphy as well is next in line to overtake him. And the 48 Markel Murphy is bringing the 49 of Christian Antonio with him, but the 23 of Craig Hawkins still putting on a hard fight on the outside line, trying his best to maintain as much momentum as he can for the longest time possible. At the same time, they are battling up, and 27 Duchesne goes high. He goes high, and the 48 of Markel Murphy will look to his inside. Because of that, it's going to be a battle for the race between the 1 of Pateska and the 17 of Jerome. And look at my stats right now, guys. Looks like Jerome did stay out, so he does have 21 laps on his tires. Well, everybody else has about 5 laps. So that is not a good thing for him, but he does still go high to let these guys by. He almost taps that wall. He stays off it. No harm done, but he does lose a lot of speed because of that, because he did have to let off to avoid getting into it, and he does continue losing more spots because of that.
Looks like Dallas and Markel are having a really good battle on the low side. Dallas is just able to pinch him off every time.
The only thing we've noticed about Markel Murphy, Austin, is that he is a very, very fast driver in the long run. He has proved that to us every single race. But right now he is having a time of his life against these guys. Because the one of Pateska, the 27 of Duchesne, 23 of Craig Hawkins, almost the whole field has brought their A game tonight. So the 48 of Markel Murphy right now is having a harder time than the previous races at maintaining the lead.
Well, he is finally able to make it down on that low lane. Here comes the 23 of Craig Hawkins. He is going to get into the inside there of Dallas Pateska coming through turn number 2. He is just going to edge him out, but here comes Pateska. He's fighting back on that outside as they are drag racing down the backstretch and into turn number 3.
Oh, and that 48, Markel will assist him on the inside line. He will give him a push here to increase that speed. 23, Craig Hawkins leads his first lap here on lap number 64. That one of Pateska left out high and dry by the 48, Markel Murphy, but 27 Duchesne will assist him, making the outside line work. 27 Duchesne falls back in line behind 48, Markel Murphy, and dumps the one of Pateska on the outside line. And the 27 Duchesne right now, Dave, is just trying to go high and low, trying to see which line is moving.
Yeah, he's just trying to get back up front there. As we saw the first portion of the race, he ran a lot of laps up front, but here comes Markel Murphy to the inside of Craig Hawkins there, looking to take that number 1 spot away, as he is going to get a good run on the entry, and he is going to bring the 1 of Dallas Pateska and the 27 of Danny Duchesne with him.
Yep, and that 23 of Craig Hawkins trying his best to fall back in line on the bottom lane, but having no luck whatsoever. Just like Austin had pointed out, the outside line is not the place to be. You will get freight trained, you will lose a lot of time, you will lose a lot of spots. And right now, the 23 of Craig Hawkins doing an amazing job, not losing spots as quickly as we had thought he would have. The 27 of Duchesne almost made contact with the 23 of Craig Hawkins, but they were able to stay off each other. That 23 of Hawkins catches the break from 27 of Duchesne, who did back it off to let him maintain it.
That's a very close battle here for positions 1 through 6. They're all within a second of each other almost.
Yep, these guys trying to set each other up, but having no luck whatsoever. As you can see right now, the 27 of Duchesne is all over the 23 of Craig Hawkins, trying to play mind games against him. But 23 of Hawkins still holds his own. He's going to do the defensive on against 27 of Duchesne, who will just stay behind him to try and ride on. 23 of Hawkins does go down a little bit too soon, and 27 of Duchesne does go high to avoid getting to the back of 23 of Craig Hawkins. At the same time, 27 of Duchesne does get around against 23 of Hawkins, and he's going to try and make a move against him.
Looks like they are kind of just single file going down that little line and just going to ride it out for the long haul.
Yep, that could definitely be a good thing. And Austin, you know, the inside line is the fastest way around the track. At the same time, it does take up the most tires, and the outside line is the slowest place to be. At the same time, it does save tires. So it is quite interesting to see which lane the drivers pick, but it looks like everybody so far is picking that inside line, trying to not think about the long run, but right now just pretty much trying to spank each other. Since Duchesne on the outside, on the inside of the 23 of Craig Hawkins, pulling the 49 of Christian Antonio, and at the same time, 23 of Craig Hawkins will go from front to back in a hurry. And Austin, during these runs, we did notice that we are noticing that a lot of guys are getting very, very loose entering turn number 1 and 2, and most likely, actually, also on the exit of turn 2. Were you having any of those problems as well yourself?
Yeah, getting into turn 1, there is a bump that you don't even feel. It's more of like a speed bump, and if you turn in too early, you'll actually get very loose on entry. So you almost have to let off. Is the safe way to do it, but just drive straight through the corner and then turn hard. But that does get your car very upset, and then you will push high at the exit of turn 2.
Oh, 10-4, that does explain a lot. That does explain why a lot of cars seem to be just doing well in between turns 1 and 2, but then all of a sudden go high and have to let off to avoid hitting that wall. And after they get loose, it is usually a bad deal. Just like the 911 of John LaBeouf had some trouble there and had to retire early for the night. But we do have one driver entering pit road, 17 of Jerome Berthome. He will be the first driver to pit in for a green flag pit stop with about 31 laps on his tires. Oh, actually, Jerome Berthome does have a little bit of rear end damage on that machine, so maybe he's pitting in to get the damage fixed.
That definitely could be possible, but meanwhile, going up front, we are still being led by the 48 of Markel Murphy with Dallas Pataska. The 27 of Danny Duchesne has moved into 3rd position with Steven Aguiar in 4th, Craig Hawkins in 5th, but they have kind of fell off pace from our 2 front runners of Murphy and Pataska.
Yep, looks like all those battles have finally started catching up to them, meaning they have burned up all their stuff, trying to hold up each other at the same time, trying to maintain their spots and advance their spots. So that has started to catch up to them. But right now, they want a Pataska 48 Markel Murphy just pretty much going single file, spread by 0.2 of a second here. And that 48 Markel Murphy is the fastest driver in the long run. The last races that we've had, or he has been in the last races we've had. So it most likely is coming back to him as we speak. And the one of Pataska right now trying his best to maintain that gap, or at least even close that gap the best that he can. And these guys now have about 20 laps on their tires. So we should expect to see some green flag pit stops here in the next 5 to 10 laps.
Moving further on back. Oh, actually, there's caution turn 2.
Oh, looks like 49 Christian Antonio was spun out sideways. Heavy smoke from his car, from his tires. Let's focus on the 49 of Christian Antonio on replay.
Well, as we pull up the Dre broadcast and replay, we are going to focus on the 49 Christian Antonio as he makes his way through the dog leg here at Charlotte. Gets down low, comes back high. Looks like he may have hit that bump that Austin was talking about as he comes through turns 1 and 2. He gets it sideways, but he does get it stopped before it hits the wall. So he is going to keep it off the wall, but that is going to drop him a few positions.
Yeah, that's exactly what looked like it happened to Christian. He just turned in a little bit too early and he got that bump, and it upsets the rear end of that car a lot. So that's a good thing he was able to keep it off the wall, but that does happen a lot here.
Oh yeah, it could have been worse, definitely. And yeah, that was definitely a very, very nice save on his part. So these guys are on their toes, trying to avoid hitting that bump that they don't even know exists. But right now they are going down pit road, being led by the 48 of Markel Murphy, and everybody behind will follow. So by the looks of it, we do not have anybody staying out. Oh, actually, we have 2 drivers staying out. That's going to be 17 Jerome Berthome, who just pitted in about 5 laps ago now. And the 28 of Eric Roberts, who has 21 laps on his tires, most likely trying to lead a lap. Oh, actually, never mind. These both drivers, 17 of Jerome and the 28 of Eric Roberts, are both being shown 2 laps down. So one of them will be getting the lucky dog. Oh, the 17 of Jerome did get the lucky dog, so we'll be back 1 lap down. And 28 of Eric Roberts still being shown 2 laps down in the 19th place spot, and will be getting 1 lap back with 1 to green.
Looks like Dallas Pataska had another good pit stop. He was able to get past Markel Murphy.
Yeah, very, very impressive by this one of Pataska. And looking at it right now, their pit times, Markel Murphy and Dallas Pataska both had a 13.4-second pit stop, very, very identical. It looks like the one of Pataska just might have had a better entrance down on pit road, and that does give us some time to get a race interview in. So let's focus on 23 of Craig Hawkins. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the 23 of Craig Hawkins up here. That's look up there, Craig.
How you doing, Sean?
Good. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Doing good too, thank you. Well, Craig, we didn't see much of you up front in the first couple of laps, but then all of a sudden, once we saw you up front, we could not get rid of you. How's the race going so far, buddy?
It's doing good so far. I led like a couple of laps, 1 or 2, but it's caused it a little bit too tight to keep the tone down there. So I got loose going into that corner and I lost the lead.
Oh, 10-4, Craig. But Craig, despite that, you're still doing an amazing job with these guys. And I was gonna ask who you think might be your biggest opponent here. Actually, I should ask you that. Who do you think is your biggest opponent? And if you name them, how do you think you'd be able to beat them?
I think the number 48 car is my biggest opponent because he gets them big runs through the corner, and I can get up to his bumper. So he might be the one coming up with the win tonight, but I don't know.
Oh, 10-4, Craig. And Craig, how do you think you're going to be able to beat him? What do you think is your best defense, pretty much? Is it just to pretty much pull your hammer down to the floor and hope for the best, or set him up somehow?
I'm just hoping to tap him on the corner and get him loose and take the lead.
10-4, the old bump and run. Well, Craig, you are now back 1 to green, so good luck to you, buddy, and make us proud.
Thank you, Sean.
And that was the 23 of Craig Hawkins. As right now, we are now back 1 to green, being led by the 1 of Pataska with the 27 of Duchesne right behind him. 48 Markel Murphy leading the outside to help with the 8 of Steven Aguiar. They do have the 6 of Mattox there and the 23 of Craig Hawkins, who will be side by side on the outside and the inside line.
Now that with fresh tires, I want to see if Markel can hold his own on the outside against Dallas. I think he'll be able to give him a good run for the next couple of laps.
Yeah, this is quite the combination we have here, Austin. All these great drivers up here, all these amazing, the guys we have seen battling all race long, catching up to each other. So it definitely is going to be very interesting to see exactly who pulls out here, who benefits from other mistakes. And the pace car does dip off. The 1 of does not hesitate to push it down immediately. He does catch the 48 of Markel off guard. 27 of Duchesne tries to benefit from it, but right now he doesn't seem to have the inside of the 48 of Murphy, who will try and close the door on him, entering turn 1. And behind them, we do have a 6 of Mattox getting around the 8 of Aguiar. 8 of Aguiar left at the outside, and the 23 of Craig Hawkins on his inside, being freight trained, while putting the 24 of Craig Hawkins, or the 24 of Corey Blevins with him.
Yeah, it looks like Markel just maybe missed his shift, and now he's stuck out to dry on the high side.
Yep, he is stuck out in the outside line right now, trying his best to counter it by using the draft of the 27 of Duchesne, 6 of Mattox, but so far having no luck. He just might catch a break here behind the 23 of Craig Hawkins, and yes, he will. But look at the car next to him is the 24 of Blevins, who is being battled, who is battling with the 8 of Steven Aguiar, with the 13 of Jean-Francois right behind. The 8 of Aguiar does drift way high, and we'll lose a little bit of time because of that, and loses the spot to the 13 of Jean-Francois, 24 of Blevins, and the 88 of James O'Brien. But that 48 Markel did fall back in line behind the 23 of Craig Hawkins, 6 of Mattox, and 27 of Duchesne, trying to battle the 1 of Adaz Pataska for that race lead. And look at that, 23 of Craig Hawkins making moves against the 6 of Steven Mattox, or at least trying to. The 6 of Mattox does shut the door on him. The 6 of Mattox is an amazing driver as well. I haven't spoken much of him tonight, but he definitely is here. And he is now here in the top 5 and trying his best to maintain this top 5 and gain that towards the leaders who are now battling. And that's 27 of Duchesne and the 1 of Pataska.
Does look like the 23 of Hawkins is going to get around him and take away that number 3 position. As he is looking to get to the inside there. Denny Duchesne looks like he had a little late entry into the turn, but he is able to get it down there. But that is going to let the 23 of Craig Hawkins get even closer to that back bumper.
Looking a little bit farther back, looking at Jean-Francois and Corey Blevins, they're having a nice close battle together. Looks like Jean-Francois was just able to give him a little bump and run to get him out of the way in turn 1 and 2.
And because of that, the 8 of Aguiar does benefit from it and looks to his inside. The 24 of Blevins will go from 6th down to 8th here in 1 lap. Unfortunately, he is able to get back in line behind both drivers and block off the 88 of James O'Brien, who does have the 41 of Chris Perez on his rear end. Oh, and going back up from the battle for the race lead, still going on. 27 of Duchesne has been shuffled out to dry. The 23 of Hawkins trying to benefit from that. Looks to his inside and they'll be side by side toward the backstretch, entering turn 3. The 1 of Pataska is very, very happy to see it. He is smiling because the more they battle, the more he will pull on. The 48 of Markel Murphy as well is in a roadblock right now, trying to get around the 23 of Hawkins and 27 of Duchesne.
It looks like this lead pack, this top 5, is running away from the field, and might just be a battle between these 5 right up here. It's been a great battle so far.
Well, we only have 45 laps remaining, so they are ticking down as these guys are still running right about mid to low 28-second lap times. So these laps are ticking down, so these drivers know that they don't really have too much longer here, as we are 44 laps remaining.
Another thing that they might be considering is that it's now, since we had that caution with the 49, it is a one-stop race from now on. So strategy is going to be key from here on out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what they do in Austin. I'm pretty sure most drivers will run the tank dry and come down to pit road and try and take the least fuel possible to spend the least time on pit road. Oh, the 27 goes sideways entering turn 1, and he will get hit by 48 Markel Murphy. Big wreck entering turn 1, and the caution will fly. Let's back it up and focus on the 27 of Duchesne on replay.
Well, as we pull up our Dre Broadcasting replay, we are going to rewind it here and focus on the 27 of Duchesne, who was stuck on the outside as he tried to make a move on the 23 of Hawkins coming into turn number 1. Hawkins on the inside. Duchesne just gets loose, tries to get down behind him, makes contact with the 48 of Markel Murphy. Also is going to collect the 6 of Steven Maddox. So that is definitely going to shake things up here, as Markel Murphy has a little bit of front end damage there from that incident.
It looks like that turn 1 hump bites another person. Doesn't matter how good of a driver you are. Sometimes if you just miss that point by too much, it looks like that's exactly what happened there.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate for all drivers involved in that. And man, that will be the second race in a row where the 48 of Murphy has been involved in an incident. Last week at Vegas, he was involved in the incident that did make him finish further back in the pack due to some damage sustained, and the same here this week. But right now, these drivers do go down pit road, being led by this 1 of Pataska, 23 of Craig Hawkins, 48 Markel Murphy, 13 of Jean-Francois, and the 8 of Steven Aguiar. But we do have some more drivers deciding to stay out. That's going to be the 17 of Jerome Berthome and the 28 of Eric Roberts.
Looks like
Yeah,
the 17 is going to get the wave around. He's going to get the lucky dog. That is going to put him back on the lead lap.
And Austin, this caution coming out at this time, this will shake things up in these guys' strategies. You did talk about how it was going to be a one more pit stop race for these guys. But something tells me they will still have to pit in because we have 41 laps remaining. So it definitely will shake things up, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Just want to give a quick shout out to Chris Perez, one of our organizers. It is his birthday today.
That's the 41. Chris Perez currently in the 16th place spot. He's doing an amazing job, and in that case, let's actually interview the 41 of Chris Perez. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the 41 of Chris Perez up here. That's gonna come up there, Chris.
Yeah, I got you.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Well, before we get into it, anything you want to tell us, buddy?
Not much. Well, Sammy, one of our members, he just got deployed. Keep him in mind. Our servicemen and women are going South Korea. It's not looking good, but let's try to do something good for them, guys.
Oh, absolutely. And we did have a chance to see these 4 of Sammy Holmes. He was in the chat here earlier supporting us. But we do hear that it is your birthday today here, Chris.
Yep.
Well, we do want to wish you a happy birthday, brother. And how's the race going so far besides that?
Going pretty good. I started in the back. I didn't qualify. I'm sitting 8th now, so slowly working up.
Oh, 10-4, Chris. And Chris, I haven't seen much of you up front, but now you have cracked yourself up here into the top 10. You're currently in 8th place for starting at 21st place spot. You think already what it takes to advance your spots before this thing ends?
I don't know about contend, but maybe top 5. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, 10-4, Chris. Well, brother, keep doing exactly what you're doing. You are headed the right direction. We do wish you the best of luck. Bring this thing home, and as usual, make us proud.
Yep, thank you, guys.
And that was the 41 of Chris Perez. But right now, we are now back 1 to green, being led by the 1 of Dallas Pataska, the 13 of Jean-Francois right behind him on the inside, and the 23 of Craig Hawkins leading the outside with the help of the 8 of Steven Aguiar, and the status check on the 48 of Markel Murphy. He is being shown in 17th place spot. Looks like he did stay on pit road a little bit longer to try and get more of that damage fixed, and his pit crew did do an amazing job trying their best to straighten that thing out.
Yeah, most definitely, as the pace car now brings them into turn number 3. We are being led by the 1 of Dallas Pataska with Craig Hawkins on his outside. Meanwhile, in the second row, we have the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne and Steven Aguiar in the second row. In the third row, we have the 88 of James O'Brien and the 24 of Corey Blevins. As the pace car brings them out of turn 4, makes a hard left into pit road. Looks like Dallas Pataska wasted no time getting hard on that throttle as Craig Hawkins is able to stay in front of Jean-Francois Champagne, who is going to maintain that third position.
24, Corey Blevins left out high and dry on the outside, having no luck so far. Oh, he does squeeze in between the 88 of O'Brien and 60 of Colton Lane. Holy cow, that was very, very close, and the caution will fly. We'll back that up and focus on one of the drivers who might have been involved. Oh, looks like it might have happened on the exit of turn 2. The 5 of Jason Ashby was spun out sideways on the track with the 49 of Christian Antonio as well involved. Let's focus on the 5 of Jason Ashby on replay.
Well, as we focus on the 5 of Jason Ashby, he is going to get to the inside there of the 49 of Antonio as they come out of the turn. Oh, Antonio just comes down, makes contact, spins him out. It's going to also collect the 6 of Stephen Maddox, the 5 of Jason Ashby. Oh, that is going to be disastrous, as it looks like we have some smoke here as they are getting towed down on the pit road.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for all drivers involved. And 49 Chris Antonio did get loose there on the outside, which did shoot his car nose first onto the inside line into the 5 of Jason Ashby. 6 of Matos got a big piece of that as well. Very, very unfortunate for all drivers there. And we do look forward to seeing them back out into the track before this thing ends, as we do have 37 laps remaining. Once again, being led by the one of Dallas Pataska. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will take another commercial break here on lap number 94 with 36 laps to go. Well, now 95. So you guys can get another round of popcorn and refreshments. We'll be right back. So stay tuned.
Drivers, start your reading. Motor Sim Racing Magazine is the first and only magazine dedicated to sim racing. Every month we'll be covering the hot topics around the world of sim racing. So if you're looking to be in the know, go to www.motorsimsracing.com. You will find articles from your favorite drivers.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bill Clemens RV 130 as a part of round 4 of the American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by HighTorqueTexas.com and the Brake Mod at thebrakemod.com. And once again, I am Sean Zulu, being joined by Dave Everly and Austin Moore, one of the drivers here tonight, one of the drivers here at the Precision Racing American iRacing Sunday Series, one of the regulars. As right now, going back to the race, we are back 1 to green, being led by the 1 of Pataska, 23 Craig Hawkins right beside him, the 13 of Jean-Francois, third on the inside line, third place, second place on the inside line behind him, and the 8 of Aguiar, second place on the outside line, technically in the 4th place spot. And looking at the stats right now, every single driver, well, most drivers did decide to stay out, and they have 8 laps on their tires. We just got word that these guys still have to pit at least one more time in order to be able to make it all the way. And once we go green, we will have 33 laps remaining. So it definitely is go time for these guys. As right now, these guys getting bunched up nice and tight, going green again. This time by the 1 of Pataska does bring them to start-finish line. The pace car does dip off. He still holds pace speed. Oh, he gets the 88. Big time rear ending in the back. That did stack up the field. They thought the 1 of Pataska was going to go immediately, but he did end up holding off because they did catch up to him. But right now, we are back green. 13 of Jean-Francois controlling the inside of the 23 of Craig Hawkins, who will stay high. He tries 4 in line. Oh man, the 8 of Aguiar is on his inside line, so he has no choice but to go back high to avoid causing an incident. And they will be side by side, entering turns number 3 and 4. The 23 of Craig Hawkins does 4 in line behind the 8 of Aguiar.
Another person that is to look for is the 88 of James O'Brien. He had some earlier damage earlier in the race. He has called himself back into almost the top 5 here.
Yeah, and unfortunately for 88 of James O'Brien, Austin, on that restart, the restart we just had, he did get rear-ended quite a bit. I should say a lot, because that rear end is dinged up quite a bit. Just hope that it's not affecting him too much. At the same time, he does have some right side damage on that machine, but he does have a driver approaching his rear end. That's the 98 of Jeffrey Ford. Jeffrey Ford, haven't spoken much of him, if any, tonight. He started in the 15th place spot, and is now currently running in the 7th place spot, trying to hang on to trying to get around the 88 of James O'Brien for the 6th place spot. And they do stay side by side, neck to neck. These guys both hammered down to the floor, not giving up. But the 98 of Jeffrey Ford will be shown in the 6th place spot and bumps down the 88 of O'Brien down into the 7th place position. So the damage of the 88 of O'Brien is definitely playing quite a factor against him here. As behind him we have a battle going on again. The 48 Markel Murphy, 17 of Jerome Berthome, and the 60 of Cotton Lane.
Moving back up front, it looks like the top 5 pack is able just to pull away very quick and have their own race within a race.
Yep, all these top 5 right now all pretty much just single file. But at the same time, for the back in the pack, that battle still continues. 48 Markel Murphy trying to get around for 17 of Jerome Berthome, but these guys still going neck and neck, not giving up. Both hammers down to the floor, trying to maintain those spots. 17 of Jerome being shown 8th, 48 Markel being shown 9th. And they still stay side by side. 48 Markel still making the outside line work nice and strong. He does get the slingshot off turn 4 and is going to be shown. Does he advance? Yes, he does advance to the 8th place spot and bumps down the 17 of Jerome into the 9th place position. As for the back in the pack, the 21 Trevor Wise trying to use the draft of the 60 of Cotton Lane to try and catch up to the 5 of Jason Ashby's. Does stay high to let everybody by, and no harm will be done. And holy cow, the 5 of Ashby's damaged pretty badly, and it definitely is showing in his performance, because that car is maxing at about 155 miles an hour while everybody is pushing about 189, 190 plus entering turn 3.
Going back up front here, looks like the 23 of Craig Hawkins is going to get to the inside of Steven Aguiar as they are battling through turns 1 and 2. He's got the preferred race line. He is going to lead him by an edge. Yep, he is going to clear him, but here comes Aguiar trying the crossover, just not able to complete it as they come into turn number 3.
And that 13 Jacques-Francois all over the one of Pataska. Pataska at this point is definitely feeling the pressure from the 13 of Jacques-Francois. And at this point, we do have 25 laps to go. So these guys can make it if they pit in now.
Yeah, so the question is who's going to be the first one to break off, come down in pit road and top off with fuel? Are they going to take tires, or are they just going to take fuel here? As we have the 5 of Jason Ashby down on pit road. Meanwhile, the leaders are still staying out, so these front 4 cars here have pulled out to a commanding lead over the 5th place car, the 24 of Corey Blevins.
And Dave, let's ride with 13 of Jacques-Francois just so we can watch him work against the 1 of Pataska. When he gets close to the 1 of Pataska, he does seem to just be pretty much backing it off, but when you look in his rear view, he does have the 23 of Craig Hawkins closing the gap. So the more he lets off, the more everybody else behind catches up to him. Right now, still doing an amazing job maintaining it, but he does leave the door open for the 23 of Craig. Going to look to his inside, and Craig would take the inside line gladly from the 13 of Jacques-Francois, who will be forced to stay high. But the 23 of Hawkins is occupying his inside line. That is some bad news for 13 of Jacques-Francois. So they must make contact on the exit of turn 4. 23 of Craig Hawkins has to back off to avoid causing trouble, and that does let the 13 of Jacques-Francois take back the 2nd place spot. Opa, look at that. 23 of Craig Hawkins coming back on the inside line of the 13 of Jacques-Francois. The caution does fly. We'll back up and take a look at who might have been involved. Oh, the 17 Jerome, 60 Cotton Lane, heavy damage on both machines. Let's back it up and focus on the 17 of Jerome Bethome.
Well, as we are watching on our Dre Broadcasting replay, the 17 of Jerome is in front of Colton Lane here, coming into turn. Well, I think it was that bump that Austin was talking about. He just got loose. Colton Lane had nowhere to go. He has got heavy damage. Also is going to collect in the 41 of Chris Perez.
Holy cow, yeah, very unfortunate for all drivers involved. When a wreck happens up front ahead of you and you're carrying that much speed, it is very difficult to avoid it, especially when there is a lot of banking in these turns. But very unfortunate for all drivers involved in that. And going back up front, I'm pretty sure every single driver will go down pit road, because at this point, they can all make it if they pit in.
It does look like everybody does catch a lucky break with that caution coming out, like you had said earlier, Sean. They needed that caution. It needed a caution for them to pit.
Oh yeah, they do catch a break with that, because at the same time they can stretch their arms and legs for that final run, because at this point they know it is go time. No need to pit in. That's one less thing to worry about. So the best thing, or the next thing to worry about, is keeping the hammers down to the floor, all wheels down on the racing surface, and their opponents behind them.
Going back to that wreck, it did look like Jerome did get loose from that bump in turn 1, and then was able to gather it right back up, but he might have caught the apron just a little bit, and once you catch that apron, your car is just ready to spin right around on you.
Oh yeah, and that does mark victim number 4, claimed by the bump in between turns number 1 and 2. Going back up front right now, we have the one of Patasca still leading off pit road, entering pit road and leads off pit road. 13 Jean-Francois is still second place, 23 Craig Hawkins third, 8 of Aguilar fourth, and 24 of Corey Blevins in the 5th place position. And that does give us some time to get a race interview in. So let's focus on the 13 of Jean-Francois. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the 13 of Jean-Francois up here with us. Good cop there, Jean.
Fine, and yeah.
Good, how are you, buddy? And Jean, unfortunately, last week we were not able to catch up with you. It was Las Vegas, the big block SRT 125. But, buddy, how's the race going so far?
Oh, very nice.
And we have noticed you have been battling with these guys very heavily. You think you have what it takes to keep these guys behind you, or at least actually overtake those 2 guys in front of you?
Oh, we'll try.
10-4, buddy. Well, I just wanted to check in with you, buddy, and make sure everything's going well. But by the looks of it, you have everything under control. Started 18th place, currently 3rd place, gaining 15 spots this far. The most important thing, you have stayed alive with a very great looking paint scheme on that machine. The brake mod, the brakemod.com, one of the sponsors of the American iRacing Sunday Series. Well, buddy, good luck to you, and make us proud. See you in Victory Lane.
Sir.
And that was the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne being shown in 3rd place after starting the 18th place spot. But right now, we will be coming 1 to green. Yes, we will be. The lights on the pace car do turn off. We have the one of Patasca still in the lead. 13 Jean-Francois right behind him. 23 Craig Hawkins leading the outside of the help with the 24 of Corey Blevins. Well, once we go 1 to green, we will have 17 laps remaining. So, Austin, it is go time.
Absolutely. It's time to hold the right pedal as far as you can down and make sure you can just make it stick on the bottom. I think bottom is going to be king here. I'll be looking for Dallas just to try to hold that bottom line and try to win this race.
Oh, yeah. And right now, the guys who are the sitting ducks at the moment are the guys, every single driver on the outside line, because they will get freight trained before they can have a chance to fall back in line. But if the one of Patasca does jump to start in the 23 of Hawkins and the 24 of Blevins do get a better start and not caught off guard, they just might have enough time to get down to that bottom lane before the 13 of Jean-Francois, the 98 Jeffrey Ford, and the 8 of Aguilar get up to speed. Pace car does dip off the one, Pataska does put it down to the floor. He does catch some drivers off guard. 23, Craig Hawkins gets a better start than 13 of Jean-Francois did. The 24 of Craig Hawkins side by side. 24 of Corey Blevins side by side. The 98 of Jeffrey Ford and Craig Hawkins on the outside. Actually, 24 of Corey Blevins on the outside. While the 98 of 98 of Jeffrey Ford does put the 48 of Markel Murphy with him. And last time we checked, 48 Markel Murphy was involved in an incident there that gave him some front end damage. But he is still doing an amazing job regardless, still countering that damage by keeping his hammer down to the floor and using the draft of the 98 of Jeffrey Ford. And that 13 Jean-Francois right now trying his best to catch the 23 of Craig Hawkins. At the same time, both drivers trying to catch the lead of the one of Dallas Pataska. We do have 16 laps to go. Once cross start finish time, we will have 15 laps remaining. And once again, this is go time. These guys can make it without having to pit in any more times. So all they have to worry about is staying ahead, keeping the opponents behind them, and making sure they stay alive. Pretty much not being claimed by the track. And further back in the pack for Lance Marsh, riding behind the 21 of Trevor White, while trying to hold off the 27 of Danny Duchesne in the process.
Yeah, it looks like we're pretty much single file here through the field here, following back to the 88 of James O'Brien, who has dropped back into the 11th position. Meanwhile, the 28 of Eric Roberts running in your 13th, with the 17 of Jerome Bartholomew right behind him. But right behind him, you have the 60 of Colton Lane also looking to his inside to try to gain as many positions as he can.
Yeah, and both drivers are heavily damaged, as both drivers were involved in the last incident. Then when the 17 of Jerome got a little bit loose and collected the 60 of Cotton Lane and a bunch of other cars around the 60 of Lane did get around the 17 of Jerome, and Jerome would try and take advantage of the draft to try and counter that damage the best he can. And going for the back up from the 13 of Jean-Francois, 23 Craig Hawkins. These guys getting close to the one of Pataska. They have caught the one of Pataska. And that 23 of Hawkins did have a bad entrance to turns number 1, and that did slow him down quite a bit. And the 13 of Jean-Francois does occupy his outside because of that, and does get a momentum gain off turn 3, off turn 2, and entering turn 3. He will still stay side by side with him, but the 13 of Jean-Francois, the 23 of Craig Hawkins, does get that spot back away from him. The 13 of Jean-Francois still trying his best to set him up.
Meanwhile, right behind him, the 48 of Markel Murphy and the 8 of Stephen Aguiar are working on the inside there of Jeffrey Ford, dropping him back from the 4th to 6th position, as the 8 of Stephen Aguiar is riding right there. But meanwhile, the 48 of Markel Murphy, who we saw involved in an earlier incident, dropped all the way back into 17th, and here he is in the top 5 right now.
And the 98 of Jeffrey Ford was able to fall back in line, catch a break behind the 8 of Stephen Aguiar. And Stephen right now trying to get around the 48 of Markel Murphy, who does go high to just pretty much do the Q line to try and just let the car roll out of the turns to scrub them less and maintain the most speed possible. And up front, the 13 of Jean-Francois, 23 Craig Hawkins, 1 of Pataska, all bunched up, less than 0.2 seconds of each other. And that is very, very close. The draft is very, very strong among them. So right now they're just pretty much trying to see the best way to set each other up, because it is 10 laps to go.
Yeah, it does look like... I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, most definitely these guys know that 10 laps to go, they have to start making their moves. Meanwhile, the 23 of Craig Hawkins is looking to get to that back bumper of Dallas Pataska, but Pataska is doing a great job at keeping him behind him.
Yep, Dave, that's exactly what I was going to say. Dallas doing a great job of holding behind him, but time is clicking down, and that, I believe, that's what everybody's thinking right now, is they got to set everybody up to get that last lap passing.
Meanwhile, right behind him, the 8 of Stephen Aguiar is able to get around the 48 of Markel Murphy, moving him up into 8th. Looks like Stephen Aguiar has got a good late run here as he is trying to catch those top 3. As he is, looks like he is starting to make a little ground up on the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne, as this lead pack is getting around a lap car. That is going to be the 41 of Chris Perez.
And last time we had checked, the 8 of Aguiar was behind the 48 of Markel Murphy, but that 48 of Murphy did lose that spot to the 8 of Aguiar, but he does drift way high here to try and set up the 8 of Aguiar, but Aguiar not having it. He does maintain his race line. And also looking further back in the pack here, Everybody does get on the lap car. The 98, Jeffrey Ford trying his best to catch the 48 of Markel Murphy. 24, Corey Blevins trying his best to catch up at the same time. 54 of Lance Marsh trying to benefit from the draft of the 24 of Corey Blevins for the 7th place spot.
Well, it does look like the 8 of Stephen Aguilar has closed that gap a good bit and almost to the back bumper there of Jean-Francois Champagne. But meanwhile, the 48 of Markel Murphy is not letting him go as he is riding right there as he propels off of turn number 2, trying to look to the outside. Stephen Aguilar moves up to get a good entry into turns 3 and 4, but here comes Markel Murphy on the inside as the 8 of Aguilar slides up and has to back it down. Murphy is going to make that pass and slingshot, trying to get into that back bumper there of Jean-Francois Champagne.
Oh man, it is now 5 to go. 48, Markel almost gets into the 13 of Jean-Francois and backs it off. Nope, he did not back it off. Did not lift. Occupies the inside because of that. Great driving on his part. 13 of Jean-Francois shoved it out to the outside, and because of that, they must make contact. But 13 of Jean-Francois comes up with a big one on the exit of turn 4. 48, Markel being pushed by the 8 of Stephen Aguilar on the inside line, trying to help him take back what was rightfully his, or trying to take back the that spot from the 13 of Jean-Francois. 48 Murphy does tap the apron, gets loose because of that, and has to let off, is forced to let off to avoid getting up into the 13 of Jean-Francois. And up front, we do have a battle for the race between 23 of Craig Hawkins and the 1 of Pataska.
Yeah, it did look like Craig Hawkins was able just to get him a little front bumper and get him nudged right out of the way.
The old-fashioned bump and run is what they call it, but meanwhile, the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne is looking to the outside of Dallas Pataska. Looks like Pataska is going to have the good lane, but here comes the 48 of Markel Murphy. He is going to get to the bumper of Dallas Pataska. It looks like Dallas Pataska is going to hold down low there to try to block that run coming into 3.
In that 13, Jean-Francois was trying his best to get down to that bottom lane, but so far having no luck. Yes, he finally does succeed. He gets in behind the 8 of Aguilar. At the same time, the 1 of Pataska has been shoved out to the outside by the 48 of Markel Murphy, who does look to pass against him successfully and bumps him down into the... Oh, they almost make on it. The 8 of Aguilar goes up into the 1 of Pataska and has to let off to avoid causing trouble. No harms, and the 1 of Pataska does maintain the 3rd place spot. The 8 of Aguilar does lose a spot because of that. The 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne going back up front. The 23 of Craig Hawkins is definitely smiling. It is 2 to go, who are going to be in the white flag this time by.
Looks like Craig Hawkins is going to take the white flag here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Can he hold him off? The 48 of Markel Murphy is trying to make a charge, but I don't know if there's enough time for him to be able to catch the 23 of Craig Hawkins.
Yeah, it looks like he might not have enough time to do so, and he will come home in the 2nd place spot. Yes, he will. The 1 of 23 of Craig Hawkins brings it home, and 48 Markel 2nd place. The 1 of Pataska 3rd. 13 Jean-Francois 4th. The 8 of Aguilar in the 5th place spot, and that will round up our top 5 drivers tonight. Well, Dave, let's ride on the in car with 23 of Craig Hawkins, and hopefully we do see a smoke show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will interview the top 3 drivers: 23 Craig Hawkins, 48 Markel Murphy, and the 1 of Pataska. As we do ride with the race winner tonight, 23 Craig Hawkins. Well, Craig, you did earn it, so please burn it down. Well, that is a donut and a half. Well done, Craig, and holy cow. Craig, we did have a chance to speak with you, and you talked about how your biggest opponent was the 48 of Markel Murphy, and you were able to stay ahead of him and bring it home. with him coming out in second place right behind you. What led to your success tonight, buddy?
To be honest, I have no idea, man. This car was just, it just started coming alive toward the end, and I was trying to get by, I think the one for the first place coming out to the end, and he just kept it on the bottom the whole time, and I was like, okay, maybe I should like bump him out of the way, and that's exactly what I did.
Oh, 10-4. The good old bump and run there. It looks like it did help you get that race lead and stay ahead of everybody else, because it did cause quite the effect right behind you. And how's the track feeling pretty much all race long tonight? Because we did notice a lot of guys were getting loose, but you were not one of the drivers to get loose. So how were you able to not get loose, not even once?
It's just the way I drive this track. I drive it the same way I drive the IndyCar hill, the truck hill, the Gen 6 hill. I mean, it's just the offset I have. I mean, I just go into the corner not deep, and I guess the other guys going deep, and it just felt tight the whole way for me, Sean. I mean, and I'm just happy to get the victory tonight.
Oh, 10-4, Craig. That is very, very good to hear. And what a job well done on your part, starting 10th place, finishing first. And you did have to go through a lot of traffic here, a lot of amazing drivers to earn this win tonight. Before I let you go, but any final words?
I just want to thank all the drivers that came out tonight. I mean, they put up of a heck of a race for me. I mean, I had to get all of them. They are tough drivers. I'm telling you right now. I just want to give a shout out to the people that hosted this race. I mean, not hosted, but put it on tonight, guys. This is one fun race, Sean. But thank you, guys, and for y'all.
Well, once again, congratulations, buddy, on your win tonight. And we do thank you for the kind words and look forward to seeing you again next week at Iowa Speedway. Have a good night, buddy, and good rest of the week.
You too, Sean. Good night.
And that was tonight's race winner 23, Craig Hawkins, starting 10th place, finishing first place, winning tonight's race. But right behind him is the man of every single track this far, 48, Markel Murphy. Got a cup there, Markel?
Yes, sir, I do.
How you doing tonight, buddy?
All right.
Well, Markel, last week was not your race. Well, you did do an amazing job all race long, but then the very last few laps that you did end up getting caught into a three-wide contact. That did lead to the biggest wreck that we had there on the exit of turn 4 in the tri-oval, which did put you way below the top 10. But tonight you have redeemed yourself, finished second place, despite you getting into the 27 Duchesne, who was spun out sideways, got loose, entering turn 1. You were still able to finish in second place. How was your experience overall tonight, buddy?
It was typical Charlotte. You know, it was typical tight setup, and with this new aero package, it frees it up a little bit. Even though we didn't really get the long run to really see what it really was worth, it was still a pretty good race. It was basically like a mini Daytona out there.
Oh, copy that, Markel. And Markel, a lot of loose cars out there. The track was very, very. The setup was did seem to be very, very loose a lot, as you guys were trying your best to avoid smacking that invisible barrier or a little bit of a dip entering turns number 1 and 2. That got a bunch of cars loose. Did you have any trouble like that at all tonight?
No, I didn't really feel any loose effect until that one run that we had where we ran about 20 to about 25 laps. That was the really only time I felt it. It ran me up the hill a little bit, but thankfully it was on the exit.
And Markel, before that little run that you just had right there, you were involved in the incident once again with 27 Duchesne getting spun out in front of you, and you smacked him, and that did force you to go down to the 17th place spot, get that damage fixed. Do you think you were still able? Did you think you were still going to be able to finish this well?
The damage wasn't too bad. I didn't have any crinkles visibly, so I never doubted myself, and I just continued to push on.
Oh, that's the spirit right there. Well, buddy, next week we will be racing at Iowa Speedway. Any expectations?
Oh yeah, I plan on coming out there to have some fun, and hopefully we can have the same great racing that we had tonight.
Oh, 10-4, brother. Well, buddy, before we let you go, any final words you'd like to say?
Thanks for the guys at PRL for allowing me to join. Thanks Access Power and CBS Digital for continuing to sponsor me, and thank you guys for broadcasting.
Well, brother, congratulations on your success tonight, and look forward to seeing you again next week at Iowa. Have a good night, buddy.
Do the same.
And that was the second place driver, the 48, Markel Murphy, but right behind him is the season's champion from last season and the defending champion, the one of Dallas, Pataska. Got a cup there, Dallas?
Yeah, Sean, how you doing?
Good, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good. Another top 5 or top 3. I think I had the car to win. I burned up the right front, but looking back on this at the end of the season, I'll take this as basically a win. Top 5s are what I aim for.
Oh, 10-4, brother. And Dallas, you did an amazing job trying your best to hold these guys off. You did hold off most of them for the most part and secured yourself with a top 3 finish. And in the beginning there, we did notice you in the 88 of James O'Brien pretty much battling. And we noticed he tried to pull some moves against you and try and play some mind games so you can try and fall for them and go high and open the door for him on the inside. How were you able to not fall for his traps?
Good question. It was fairly early in the race, so I didn't take him too serious. I wasn't too worried about getting by him, but at times I wanted to stretch the legs and see what the car had in it, see where my speed was. As far as not falling into his traps, I'd say a couple of them I did, a couple of them I missed. It was really about figuring out what everyone's going to be able to do at the end of the race, because with the way the track was tonight, you weren't going to be able to pull away from a pack. With the draft, you gained a couple tenths at least.
Oh, absolutely, and very, very nicely said. And man, you did an amazing job regardless. Kept these guys behind you for the most part. Started 19th, finished in 3rd place, gaining 16 spots overall. Very, very impressive. And looking back at those last couple of laps, Dallas, do you think you should have done you could have done anything differently to try and avoid losing the lead to the 23 of Hawkins?
I definitely think there's something different I should have done. I'm just not at this moment sure what it would have been. I probably would have taken it a little bit easier in the beginning of the run, try and save some tire while I had a little bit bigger of a gap and didn't have to defend from the 23 running the low line. But at the end of the day, I'll take a 3rd place any day of the week. I mean, however many cars started, that's great. Top 5s, keep this momentum going into next week.
That is very, very nice said. And once again, congratulations on your podium finish after winning last week's race at Las Vegas. Almost said Dallas for whatever reason. Well, for you, buddy, any final words?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the viewers for coming out tonight. I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. I'd like to thank the guys over at PRL. And most importantly, I'd like to thank the series sponsors, High Torque of Texas and the Brake Mod.
Well, buddy, once again, congratulations on your 3rd place finish, and we do look forward to seeing you again next week at Iowa Speedway. Have a good night, buddy.
All right, you guys too.
And that was the one of Dallas Pataska, and that does round up all the interviews. The top 3 drivers went through: Greg Hawkins, 48, Markel Murphy, one of Dallas Pataska. And also, those were the top 3 drivers. And we had 13, Jacques Francois finished 4th, and the 8 of Stephen Aguiar, 5th. 98, Jeffrey Ford, 6th. 24, Corey Blevin, 7th. 27, Danny Duchesne, 8th. 54, Lance Marsh, 9th. 21 of Trevor White, 10th. And that did round up the top 10 in tonight's race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this was the Bill Clemens RV 130 and round 4 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you once again by HyTorqueTexas.com. That is HYTORC Texas.com, and the Brake Mod at thebrakemod.com. And next week's race will be at Iowa Speedway for round 5 of the American iRacing Sunday Series by the Precision Racing League. Well, guys, it was an amazing race, and once again, Austin, thank you for joining us. Too bad you couldn't finish tonight's race, but we do appreciate you coming up here and helping us here in the booth. And it looks like you did finish in the 9th place spot. in the 21st place spot after starting in the 20th place position. But that was definitely some great driving on your part. You did try your best to put down as many laps as you could, but unfortunately you were not able to finish it. But once again, thank you for coming up here.
No problem, Sean. Thank you, Sean and Dave, for having me. It was a great time up here. Hopefully I don't have to come back during the middle of a race for the rest of the season. Hopefully me and Dallas can compete for a team championship. I appreciate it, guys.
Well, Austin, your loss is our gain. You coming up here would be a loss because you're not racing, but it will be a gain because we will have you up here. But absolutely, buddy, whenever you want to come up here, just feel free to do so, and we are more than happy to have you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And Dave, that was an amazing race. We saw a lot of battles. The cars were getting very, very loose. A lot of survivors out there and a lot of heavy battles throughout the whole entire field, which did put on an amazing show for the viewers and also for us here up in the booth, and just pretty much kept us on our toes all night long, as we did see these guys battle each other and get shuffled out to the outside line, go from back to front in a hurry, and some did go from front to back. Due to being shuffled out. And next week, once again, we'll be racing at Iowa Speedway. And the next broadcast is on Saturday night with Cyber Racing Association Cyber Racing Association Drive for Autism Super Speedway Series. Will be a series that's starting on Saturday night, alternating between the K&N cars and the Camping World Truck Series, alternating every single week. I am Sean Zulu. I was joined by Dave, Everly, and a special guest, the 9 of Austin Moore. And have a good night. Thanks for watching.